Yeah.
What an entrance! What an entrance from our champ, Solanic Sanitation, coming to the show. Welcome back, everybody. It's 2021. Welcome into a brand new episode of East Meets West. I am joined here, as mentioned, by our current champion, Mike Solanic, the Solanic Sanitation. On my right here is the B-Box Finest owner, Steve, and I am, of course, your commissioner, Joe, owner of the Both Sides of the Bun franchise. How are we doing, gentlemen?
I just want to say I wish Mike had 2 beers.
That is a way to make an entrance, though. Coming off of the best season we've ever seen in the CBFFL league, coming in belt blazing, Miller Lite cracked, glass shattering. How you feeling?
I wish it was last year already.
Yeah, I would too.
I was feeling great until about 6 o'clock this evening when I got some terrible news regarding my defending championship roster. Austin Eckler is already hurt. My first-round draft pick.
First-round picks getting hurt. I think we've all experienced that. There was a bad trend last year of a lot of first-rounders going down. I don't believe any of those teams made the playoffs, so it looks like you're backed up against the wall here. Chips are stacked against you. We'll see how you respond. Steve, how are you doing?
I'm all right. I mean, I had a player miss practice today. A.J. Brown.
A.J. Brown, yeah.
They're saying it's just rest, but I guess time will tell.
A.J. Brown consistently on the injury report. Him and Julio are going to be a tandem for sure this year to pay attention to. We have a jam-packed episode here for you. Episode 1 kicking off, as I said, for the 2021 season. We're going to get into some league news for those following at home for the CBFFL. We have a new owner coming. I shouldn't say new. I should say
a new old owner.
A new old owner coming back.
An old friend.
We have a franchise rebranding, and then we have some pretty harsh words going around in the chat. People are throwing out credentials, saying this is the most important year ever. We'll get into all of that. After league news, we're going to get into our draft recap. You can see above me here that this is our draft board. Just took place on Monday, Labor Day. Some interesting picks in there, some sleepers, some steals, some reaches. We'll talk about it. Be sure to drop a comment below if you think that anything stands out to you, any steals or sleepers that you want to mention. We're going to talk about surprising teams, and then we're going to get into the first version of the power rankings for this year, and of course, a fan favorite segment, the weekly picks. We will again be keeping track this year of who does the best, and we'll have a reminder next week on who actually finished the league last year with the best weekly pick record. So
yeah. So I mean, let's get right into the news. Well, new cast for the for the show here. I think the people were happy. For those that don't know, I'm usually behind the camera. I'm the producer, and I can't tell you the amount of emails, comments, texts I got. When is Joe taking over? That is all I heard about from the show.
And we hear
Joe's the Trey Lance of starting for this show.
We here at the CBFFL, I have all my fingers. Let's confirm. 10 fingers. We here at the CBFFL are a league of the people. So continue to put in these comments. Chat Mike, our cameraman, he still is operating the behind-the-scenes work. He'll be editing. He's a man of many jack of all trades, I should say.
That's right.
Man of many talents. We want to do what's best for you all, but let's get right into it. So, kind of spoiled a little bit. League news. We're both in that division, so I'm going to kick it to Steve first. Foster joining back in the league. So for those last year, Tommy, who did come in pretty strong on a lot of power rankings, actually had
finished very strong. If I recall,
finished very strong. I believe he was up towards number 1. He actually had to drop out of the league. He had some other things going on.
Yeah,
have no fear.
He had some soreness around the genital region, I believe.
Yeah, he's not his heart wasn't in it anymore. Like I said here, we want to give you guys what you want. We want everyone's heart and soul to be in the league. So Tommy's dropped out. Have no fear. We've replaced him with a great owner in Foster, who was once in the league before. Didn't have a great season last time around. I believe, what was it, 2-3 wins?
4-9.
4-9 last time around.
Tied for last place.
What do you think of Foster's return? Are you excited to potentially have Foster? You could see him in the championship.
I mean, I'm excited for Foster to return. Definitely a better owner than Tommy.
Okay.
Gives a little bit more competition in the West. Made the same mistakes as his year 1, though. I can say that.
You want to elaborate?
Yeah, he went He went running back first round, I'm pretty sure. But he ended up in a similar situation. He had Jordan Howard as his RB2, I believe, that year. And now it's Kenyon Drake this year. So, similar situation.
One thing I will say, Foster, for those looking at the draft board above, Foster was our first overall pick. You can see him here on the right, my right shoulder over this side.
Not 10 this year.
Not 10. Not 10. He went Christian McCaffrey first. I think that's consensus number one.
Yeah.
And some would argue that with Christian McCaffrey, he's kind of a running back and a half. So he kind of took that approach, tried to load up on other positions. We'll see how it pans out. Any other comments, Mike, on Foster's return? I'm excited for it.
I am very excited. But first and foremost, Foster's sweet. Everybody knows that. He is just a grade A pansy. Owner-wise, Steve's correct. Foster punted on depth again this year to go for the strongest, I guess, starting 4 or 5 that he could hope for. I'm glad he's back because that's 2 more easy wins for me. So it's like the status quo, It's like a tall Tommy. He's tall Tommy. But yeah, I think it should be an exciting year having him back. We have our rosters for the 2 divisions, so to speak, locked in now, I think, going forward.
Yeah, we do have a solid 12 here. One other thing to mention, Foster, is the art man behind the scenes for the team for the CBFFL here. So we can link his Mr. Editor, link his
Etsy,
link whatever we can, any of his socials down low in the description to kind of spread some love. We want to see everyone here achieve their dreams and aspirations. But moving on to aspirations, we have the formerly known as Average Joe's. Average Joe's, owned by Tom. He was a guest speaker here a couple times last year, I believe. He made a few appearances on the show.
Yeah, I think his eyes were peering over the table.
Yes. Not tall by any means. New look franchise. Average Joe's now becomes.
Is it
Joe's Gymnasium? Just Joe's, no longer Average. He kicked off the season with a bang, Steve. $8 a fab already on the Dolphins defense. He did draft a defense. By no means is there a shortage of defenses on the wire.
That he could have got for free.
Thoughts on Tom's new franchise branding, and then also $8 a fab on the Dolphins.
The branding, it's the same old Tom. He has nothing. He has a good starting lineup. I'll give him that.
New look, same time.
1 injury away from being in last place again. The $8 on the fab is probably the most embarrassing thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, for those at home as well, we do $100 a fab, so it is 8% of his budget as well. Pretty large amount. Could come back to haunt him. We've seen teams earlier last year kind of adjust the fab. It was our first year using it for many owners. I don't know much else to add, except I also disagree with the decision, but to each his own.
I just want to gang pile here with my co-hosts. It was an absolute idiotic move, completely unnecessary. I especially think, as Joe just pointed to, that this is the second year of fab. I think a lot of people have adjusted. They're going to be a little more conservative with their spending, especially we now have an extra game as well.
Yep.
To be mindful of, and then just throwing away 8% on a defense that he did not need, but that he could have drafted if he wanted, and then that there was no competition for. I don't know for certain, but I'm willing to bet money that no one put in a claim on the Dolphins that was more than $0.
There's no chance. It's week 1. Nobody's wasting fab on anybody. Really, at this point.
It's an interesting take for sure. We'll see. We've seen defenses win championships before. I don't know if this Dolphins defense has what it takes to be New England of a few years ago.
Yeah, I don't think they're doing 2019 Patriots.
Not at all.
And not to have another segue here, but we'll go into our next and final piece of news here. Speaking of New England Patriots leading to a championship, Brian, shirts off, pants down. He's our owner from the East Division. Has declared that this is the most important season, although he's only been in 2 seasons now.
Correct.
This is his 3rd season. We've been around for 5 years. This will be our 6th year. We have 5 different champions for those at home. Just started shows last year to keep you guys updated. Mike is one of those champions. Steve and I have yet to win one, but Brian also is one of them. and he declares that this will be the year we get a second champion. This will be the year that we officially separate and differentiate who is the best owner in CBFFL.
Now, I just want to hop in here. I find it highly offensive that Brian would even classify himself in the same category as me.
Well, that was a question I had. If Brian did win 2, would we say he's the best?
Well, I
2
mean,
out of 3?
it depends. Is he still having a negative record? I mean,
like overall record, like throughout the years?
I mean, like
overall,
for those that don't know, he is 12 and 14.
12 and 14.
Okay.
He had a lot of points scored, but his team in 2019 when he joined was extremely streaky. Big points,
He finished 7
little
and 6.
points. Finished 7 and 6.
On fire.
He got you know,
New York Giants
yeah,
style.
Yeah, exactly. He got hot. He got hot.
Super Bowl.
I believe the following year when we were all discussing all-time rankings, he declared that he was unanimously a top 3 of all time. And it's just I don't see it. Like, yeah, he's got that one accomplishment, but that's all he's ever done. I mean, you've gone 4 straight playoff appearances in 4 straight years. After, you know, a rough first year, but I mean, like, I don't think it's questioned that, you know, you're a top tier owner in the league. You have dominated. Prior to me going 12-1, you still hold the scoring title.
Yeah.
You have 11 and 2. You know, you dominated. I believe you have the most wins in the Eastern Division all time.
I think Jake got that.
No, but I think amongst the
against
East
the East,
owners,
yeah.
yes, I think you are number 1 because you have a clear advantage over Jake. In terms of the head-to-head, you just haven't been able to get lucky in the playoffs. So, and then, you know, there are other owners like, you know, so you two haven't won it, and there's maybe 1 or 2 other guys out there that, you know, I think are pretty good, that for Brian to completely discount everyone else. The majority of the league is insane.
Yeah.
It's insane.
I think it's more of just, you know, if you're coming off of a rough season, I've been there, in order to feel good going into the season, you really need the approval of others to feel good about you. So just kind of setting yourself up for, if I do win this championship, it's, you know, last year was a fluke, and I'm really trying to gain the acceptance of others. So we'll see how it pans out. We'll see where I originally have them ranked here in the power rankings coming up later. But that wraps it up for league news. Anything I'm missing after our week 1?
Well,
kicking into our week 1?
No, yes, I have some news. My first round draft pick, Austin Eckler, as I bemoaned earlier, came out today that he has a hamstring injury. Did not practice today. Well, no, I mean, it still affects, you know, league-wide news.
Yeah.
So it's not how I wanted to start my defense of the title.
Against the guy you beat in the championship last year.
Yeah, I don't think I'm getting him back to back.
Hamstring issues are tricky, especially early in the year. Smaller guy, Austin Eckler, not a guy that you already thought they were going to run into the ground, but hopefully it's not a lingering one for Austin. I think he has potential to be a pretty good running back this year, and we'll keep a close eye on it. But Justin Jackson, Josh Kelly, good old Stone Feet Kelly, managing to sneak his way back into a potential starting fantasy lineup. So have to keep our eye on that for sure. I think for right now, I would say I'm not worrying too much about Eckler. We'll see how he progresses in the next couple of days. But if he misses week 1 due to a hamstring, the red alarms are going off, and I'm very worried.
The alarms are already going off.
Yeah, you're sweating big time this week.
Didn't even get him for a game.
Well, speaking of first round draft picks and the draft itself, like I said, board is above me here to the left and right of my co-host. Let's go into our draft recap. I'm going to go around the table. We can start with reaches. I want to see one pick from each of you that you think a team reached on, may have gotten him. I consider a reach for those at home. Again, maybe someone you take a little around early, you think you could have gotten later. We're not only taking into consideration ADP, also how our league drafts. We've been around these owners for a while. We kind of know who likes who, where things can fall, what teams are shaping out to look like. And then after we do that, we'll go around and we'll do a steal or value pick of the draft as well for the reach thing. So I will.
You want to start? Or you want me to start?
You can start.
For my reach, there's a couple guys who went maybe a round or 2 early that I thought were they probably could have waited on. I think I know Brian loves him. Antonio Brown. I think Antonio Brown in the 7th is a bit much, considering at the time we didn't know Chris Godwin was dealing with a potential injury. I didn't know, we should cover that in the news, I guess, too. But I think he could have waited another round, especially, I don't know how well the board's showing up on the camera, but in the 4th round there was a huge wide receiver run, and then maybe a little bit more. I feel like he could have waited, especially if you look at the receivers that went around him. The pick before him, I believe, Steve picked Kenny Galladay, who also dealing with an injury, but Kenny Galladay, if he wasn't hurt, would have gone 3 or 4 rounds earlier, and he was Steve's wide receiver 4. And then after him, you have guys like Jamar Chase, who's getting a ton of hype coming into this season, highly picked. You know, Corey Davis, who's going to be the wide receiver 1 on the Jets, which, spoiler alert, that might be my steal. Brandon Cooks, again, bad team's going to have to throw a lot. He's still the wide receiver 1 there. Antonio Brown's dealing with Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, you know, they have Gio. Like, it's very crowded in Tampa Bay. They're going to score a lot of points, but, I mean, I think where he took him is he overpaid a little bit.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think Antonio Brown, I do think there's some potential for him to be a value.
I think he's going to have a good year. I just think in the 7th, Brian could have definitely got him in the 8th, probably the 9th.
Yeah. I think there's a few reaches, like including myself. I think I took Alexander Madison a little early, but with this league, a lot of people like to snake me because for some reason I hate it. But
you can't imagine why.
Yeah, but another one that comes out to me is Charlie taking Anthony Ferguson. The guy is like the 22nd overall tight end, and I was wondering if something I don't know about him. Like, is he a stud? Like, I don't know.
I think he had a good little run there at the end of the year last year. He's seeing a lot of targets. I think Julio coming in will probably, we're assuming that'll take over the Corey Davis volume, and then you have that Jeremy Smith volume still fill in. But
there was just other tight ends up there available still.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Steve. Like, I don't think it's a reach where he took him. I guess Charlie's banking on the increase in passing volume with the additional Julio. So maybe the Titans want to go a little bit away from Derrick Henry being the filter point.
And I did see a stat earlier.
But like Bob Tunyon going in the 12th, 15th, excuse me. Is just I don't know anyone that would want Ferguson over him.
There was around the 13th, 14th round. I drafted T.J. Hawkinson as my tight end, so I wasn't really looking tight end late rounds, but the rounds kept going on. I kept thinking, why are all these tight ends going? What do I not know about Robert Tunyon? What's going on? Yeah. And sure enough, he finally went into the final round to Jake. But it's a good pick as well. I agree. I had a few here. I'm going to go with a reach on Devontae Booker, running back from the Giants. I feel there was a lot of hype coming in on Saquon missing week 1 potentially. I think all practice reports were showing he's probably going to be there. I don't know if I want to start Devontae Booker even. If Saquon is playing, which sounds like he's going to, there's no way, even if Saquon's limited work, I'm starting Devontae Booker. I think
I'm also with you. I'm looking around.
I didn't know.
I think Matt got a little.
It's one right here.
Oh, it's right.
I think Matt got a little scared of his RB2 slot to where he really was trying to hit on upside there. But I just don't see that Devontae Booker brings that upside. Best case scenario, you get a week 1 start out of him, and then that's it.
You get like a disappointing.
Who did the Giants play week 1?
And the Giants also had the Denver Broncos week 1, so that is not the best matchup.
Terrible offensive line.
With a bad offensive line, and I just expect them not to put up many points. I also think he wouldn't get the full workload. We'll probably see some others get on the field for passing down work, but it's just an interesting pick. I think he was if I'm the Saquon owner, maybe there I'm looking, but even the Saquon owner grab tight end and look to Tony Jones Jr. the next round, that I think is much better of a pick than Devontae Booker. So
I agree. That was a pick of Tyler Higbee.
Yeah. That's my reach. Steals, we can go the opposite way, I guess. We'll go Steve.
Steals.
GB.
I actually, Mike already said this. I really like your Corey Davis pick at the 7th. Big fan of that. But I don't. I mean, I don't know.
No, I just thought of another reach as well.
Well,
I should have went Michael Thomas. I
Where
think
did he go?
Michael Thomas in the 8th round. I had Michael Thomas completely removed from my board.
Yeah, I wasn't
I
checking.
don't think even when he comes back.
Earliest possible is week 7.
Yeah, earliest possible is week 7 coming back. I want nothing of a person I'm going to have to leave on my IR or my bench for 6 weeks, 7 weeks. And even when he comes back, there's no guarantee that everything's going to be good with him in the organization. No guarantee that he's going to be healthy. No guarantee that he's going to be a good fit with Jameis Winston.
They
have to
haven't
build chemistry.
they haven't practiced
at all,
together at all.
So it's just a weird situation going on there. I think for a player that would have to sit out that long, like you had Cortland Sutton available. You still had Laviska Shenault maybe on a high upside play. If you wanted someone that you think is going to be suspended anyway, miss a game, Will Fuller was available.
Yeah.
High upside player as well. So just not a big Michael Thomas fan this year. But sorry, I didn't want to.
Nah, that's all right. Another steal. Yet again, I think is on your team. I actually like Marvin Jones, where you got him in the 12th. Only because there's been rumors going around saying that him and Trevor Lawrence are really connecting during camp and everything. So I think that's a solid pick.
Yeah. That was another one I was shocked that I kept seeing other names go. I thought I was going to be stuck taking like a Mecole Hardman or something, but he was still there available with him, so
I thought that was a good pick.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I've already alluded to Corey Davis, but if I was going to pick another one, Tunyon obviously is that's a steal. It kind of makes our league look bad, to be quite honest, that he went all the way in the 15th. But Jose with Tony Jones Jr.
Yeah.
Especially given the news that just came out, Latavius has been released. Exactly. Latavius had his best year, fantasy-wise, last year. And, I mean, the Saints, Michael Thomas is out until week 7. You know, it's Marquez Callaway and Alvin Kamara. Mm-hmm. That's all they got. So I think, Tony Jones Jr. is going to get a lot of time on the field. Just to give Kamara a break. He might even get the goal line work. Yeah. I know Sean Payton's really big on him. But I think Jose getting him in the 12th round was pretty good.
Yeah, I agree. Thoughts on when we're on the Saints? Steve and I were talking about Tony Jones prior to the show, and we both agreed it's such a good pick. He looks the part. I don't know if you had the chance to watch any of the preseason action.
I did.
He's one of the running backs that I look at, and he passes the eye test. He's has great agility. He's burning. He was playing with first stringers, and he was still getting good yardage per carry. He looked like he knew how to hit the hole. He was very elusive. Thoughts on, while we're on the Saints, off topic, but Juwan Johnson. Tight end receiver eligibility. So when we see these dual threat eligibility, he played a little bit of receiver last year. Not much. I think he only caught a couple passes during the season, but we have the issue with Troutman. He's injured already. Yeah. There's maybe any interest in Juwan Johnson or not keeping an eye on him?
He was barely made the team, right? I don't think anybody in this league would have much interest right now.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I tend to agree with Steve. I guess there's obviously value there because I think they will throw the ball a little bit more, provided that Jameis holds on to that starting job. And it's literally from pass catchers, it's Kamara and Callaway right now. So but I do agree. I mean, we'll have to see what kind of role he gets as a receiver. As a tight end, I don't think anyone will start him there unless we see full blown like they're committed to like throwing the ball a ton. Yeah.
Hopefully Jameis Winston throws about 4 interceptions
on him. Steve has the defense this week that they are playing against Green Bay. So, I'm actually going to go with one of your picks as well. I'm going to go the other running back that no one heard of until this year, and people were Googling probably last second. Tyson Williams. We saw during our draft, actually, news came out ironically, about a round after your pick on Tyson Williams, that not only were the Ravens working out Lev Bell and Devontae Freeman, but that Justice Hill has torn his Achilles and he's out for the year, potentially longer. The Ravens really like what they see in this kid, Tyson Williams. They went out and said, hey, we may bring people in, veteran experience, but we like our running back depth. We're going to run with Gus. We're going to run with Tyson. They're going to run the ball. We know that. Like, Baltimore's going to outrush probably any team not named the Niners this year.
Yeah.
So they've proven that they're okay with that formula. Really like Tyson Williams. Again, he passed the eye test. I think he's going to pan out to be a really good pick and maybe even someone you can slot in as an RB2 and allow you more flexibility if Eckler does end up missing time.
Well, yeah, I was really big. I was targeting him. The backups, he was on the short list. There's about 5 or 6, I guess, backup running backs. I was targeting in the league. Excuse me. I got about half of them. You can tell that's normally my MO. But yeah, once the news came out about J.K. Dobbins, I knew that the Baltimore running game is always valuable. Yeah. I mean, especially I expect a big uptick for Lamar for you, but Gus is going to get a lot of work, but he just can't do it all. Yeah. So I think Tyson Williams will have
a nice role in that.
Good value. Offense. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, completely. I agree there as well. Great. That's reaches and steals for our draft recap. We do have. I do want to go around and see. Just to get everyone's opinion, it's week 1. Going to go into a surprisings team segment, but let's etch it in stone. Let's see. Now that we've done this on Chatting with the Champ, we've given our predictions. So I know we'll have my power rankings coming out later in the show. I want to know, now that we have our rosters, who do 2 of the more respectable owners in the league think? Like, who do you see making the playoffs? Who do you see reaching the championship? We'll go East first. Now that we see the rosters,
making the playoffs.
I guess on Chatting with the Champ, who did you have in the championship?
I had me and Alex in the
championship. You and Alex, okay. Do you want to change that?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think that's happening.
Honestly, I don't. Alex's team's really not bad in my opinion.
Alex picking from the 12th spot for those at home.
Yeah, Alex's team he has 2 of the best receivers.
His draft was very surprising.
Yeah, Alex had a good draft. Like, Alex's team is really not. I think it's one of the stronger teams in the West.
Well, his entire strategy shocked me.
Yeah, it did. It definitely did. Like, the 4 running backs that he took, 5 in a row actually, but Devin Singletary don't really count. I think Alex has a solid team. I could see Alex making the playoffs in the West.
But is that still your prediction now?
So me, him in a championship?
Yeah.
I'll keep it as me and Alex.
Yeah? You versus Alex?
Yeah,
who else in the West?
I like Joe's team. And then I'd probably have to go, I think Foster. I think Foster would be the 3rd best team.
And you have Alex coming out of the West?
Yes, Alex coming out of the West.
And then East, I'm assuming yourself.
Yeah, I'm going to put myself there. I'm not respecting the championship.
Okay.
In the East, I'm gonna put. I like. I guess Matt. And then I'd say Tom. Honestly, barring injuries for Tom.
With yourself coming out.
Yeah, with myself coming out.
And
in
then
the championship.
You versus Alex.
Me versus Alex, and then me dusting them in the championship.
I have to say, the fact that you have me going up against Alex and Foster in my 5th straight playoff appearance and not coming home with a championship is a little tough to swallow.
Sorry,
yeah.
I just couldn't change my pick. I have to stick with my guns.
Yeah.
Now, Alex really did have a solid draft, though, and I think your team's really good.
I do like Alex's draft. I said that. I think after the first 2 picks, there were some eyebrows being raised because he went with the, I guess, more consistent of Diggs and Hopkins versus the boom bust potential of Hill. Yeah. A lot of people thought that was just automatically wrong. I could very much see Diggs and Hopkins surpassing Hill. They're all top receivers.
Yeah, they're all.
Got who he liked, and then he getting Gus Edwards there and Jacobs on the turn, and Mike Davis as well. And I think most is going to get off to a really good start against the Lions week 1.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I like the Diggs Hopkins better because Kelsey's really the number 1 in Kansas City. Like, he gets more targets per game. Diggs really doesn't have any competition with him in Buffalo, being the ball thrown to him, and I mean, same. I guess you can kind of say the same with Hopkins, but I mean, there is a little bit more competition in Arizona. But other than that, them 2 are the clear-cut ones there. Like, Tyreek Hill is 1-2 with Travis Kelce, so I can understand them 2 over Hill.
Yeah, a lot of high passing on offenses all around. So.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's just the nature of the NFL nowadays.
NFL,
yeah, but I thought Alex's picks are what his back-to-back Diggs and Hopkins was surprising, given that he didn't take Hill, especially considering he's been on the receiving end of Hill beating him. I think against Charlie, but when Hill dropped like 40-something points in the first half. But yeah, I the argument could be made if Stephon Diggs' touchdown, I guess totals go up. I mean, he could very easily. I think last year he had like 6, so I think they could very easily go up. I mean, the Bills. I don't think anyone is not expecting to be a great offense. And Hopkins is Hopkins. He's a beast. He's always commanded,
He's getting
but over 25% of the receiving. Hopkins?
How old is Hopkins?
He's still maybe 27, 28. He's still pretty young. And then I mean, given when he started that though, that's what he had to do, and he just pounded running backs.
Yep.
I mean,
it was a smart move.
Gus. I know news came out about Jacobs. Nobody knows what's going on. He's not practicing.
Yeah.
He finished pretty high last year. I think him and Edwards were the best he could do, especially at that position. Mike Davis is going to get volume, and Mostert's always produced. I mean, it's just a matter of time though before he gets hurt. Yeah. And but his draft was shocking.
Yeah.
I will say this though, Alex, you have no hope of making the championship. You do not have the wherewithal to manage a team.
All right. Well, tell us who does then, champ.
In the East or the West, who would you like first?
We'll do West first.
The West, well, of course, Eckler's going to be fine. Austin, listen, just a little aside, buddy. I believe in you. Hydrate. Make sure you stretch. Don't hurt your hamstring. You're going to be great, buddy. You're just going to be okay. Myself, I think you have a very I said this earlier off camera. You have a very balanced team. I think it's good, even though you fell for the mix-and trap again. And then in the West, I haven't really given a thought to it. Foster has very strong starters, but I think his bench is too weak to sustain an entire year. I like Brock's team. I like Mike. I think he's got I think he also has a balanced team that's going to give him, the lasting power he needs. In the East, I completely disagree with Steve. I love Charlie's team. I think Charlie's team will get stronger as the year goes on. Once DeAndre Swift gets healthier, he's talent-wise, he's a top 10 running back in the league. Yes, that the offense is going to stink. Jared Goff stinks, but I mean, it's been proven time and time again. Opportunity is what wins. I mean, James Robinson finished as the running back 4 last year in our league's format. They were a one-win team. So I mean, and then Javonte Williams will eventually get the job there in Denver.
I mean, we don't know that.
I think so. I think we're coming to the end of Melvin Gordon as being a force.
He wasn't really much of a. Was he a 1,000-yard rusher last year?
Right on the cusp? Melvin? Don't believe so.
Right on the cusp.
He was 986.
I do like Brian's team. I just disagree with how he conducted his mid rounds, but I don't think it's anything insane or crazy. And then it comes down to if Tom's team stays healthy, he should make it. But I do like Matt's team as well because I think Matt is going to be able. Trey Sermon is another one. Raheem Mostert's
bound to take over.
The Niners when it comes to running backs, I think are kind of like the Ravens West.
Any concern with Trey Sermon already being the one who's hurt? And
a little. That's why I'm giving you I'm cheating a little bit. I'm giving a 4th pick. I guess gun to my head, I'd go Tom on the backs of I expect him to get somewhat lucky.
Okay. So you have me, you, and Brock. I imagine, as humble as you are, you will have yourself though.
I've already had measurements of my ring finger.
Okay. And then we have Charlie, Brian, and Tom. Who are you, I assume, beating in the championship?
I think it's
a rematch.
I think we're gonna get a rematch.
We get a rematch.
I'm calling for the rematch. I do think that Charlie's team, provided it doesn't get obliterated by injuries, is one that's going to get better as the year goes on. I really do.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll get mine really quickly. No one has mentioned Jake yet. I will put Jake in there from the East. I will put Steve in there from the East. And I also agree that I think Charlie's team, his receivers are
they're the best
very
receivers this week.
Yeah, Mike Evans, Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, barring injury, should be 3 locked and loaded receivers all year long. For the West, I will also put myself. I will trust that Mike will manage his team well and put Mike in there. And I'm actually going to put Brock back in the playoffs as well. I like Brock's team also. I think he had some. I actually was considering going Aaron Jones 5. He ended up landing Aaron Jones. He also landed 2 pretty good receivers that are. I think CeeDee Lamb is the year 2 breakout. So as many people do, no crazy.
I was really hoping he would make it to me.
Yeah. I'm going to stick with my gut. I'm going to go me and Steve in the championship and me taking it home. But we have that in stone down here, so if anyone else in our league wants to comment, we can see.
Your opinions don't matter.
Who you think is going to win the championship. I imagine we're going to have 12 votes for 12 different owners because everyone wants themselves to win the championship. But interesting to see who you put in the playoffs. So feel free to throw it in the comments. We can continue to grow our CBFFL family here on the YouTube. Let's get over to the preseason power rankings. I'll run through them here. I'm going to go through them pretty quickly. You let me know what you two think. If I get to a point where you're like, surprising pick, or you just disagree. Now keep in mind, it's week 1. We haven't seen anyone play yet, so I did want to give credit where credit was due. And coming in from last year, although we did redraft teams, I think Mike and Charlie as the Eastern and Western Division winners do deserve some credit. So with that said, though, we'll start from the bottom up. We will go, coming in at number 12, I have Alex, coming off a really tough playoff loss. I think he
lost by 60.
He did lose by 60.
I did too.
I think he has some really strong potential. I want to see how those running backs pan out. Going into number 11, I have Brian. Very tough call there. I almost wanted to put him down at 12. He did get some picks that I was on the fence about, but he also had Kyler. I really wanted Kyler in the
group.
fifth.
He will be going off in the group chat once he sees this.
That's okay. Everyone is.
I think Alex is asleep at the wheel, so nobody's home.
And just not a huge fan of his receiving core. So we'll see how far he goes there. Jose, very interesting draft. I also struggled putting him any higher than 10. High upside players, high risk. Usually Jose is less of a high risk team, I would say. But he has Wilson, Carson, and Lockett. Really hoping for the Seahawks to pull it together and be a very strong team. I don't know if that's going to give him weekly consistent results and could cause him to lose a couple games, not including the fact that Barkley and Carson with injury.
Yeah, the Barkley pick where he took him was somewhat surprising to me.
Yeah.
I didn't expect Barkley from Jose. I mean, and I'm really surprised with Seattle because Jose is definitely one of the better owners in this league, and I just did not see.
With that said, Tony Jones something could go down, and he could very well be right back in Jose land with getting a handcuff that pans out.
The man plays the game.
Yep.
Yeah, he
Plays the game.
Number 9, I had Matt. So I have him kind of seeing a trend here. A lot of people here that I'm ranking are ones that I didn't have making the playoffs. Again, we're coming off of the draft. Not a terrible team. I just think he could have. Kelsey was good value, but not that RB2 spot is really. And I just don't believe in DJ Moore this year as much as I think he does. So we'll see how his flex pans out. Coming in at 8, my first playoff team, Jake. Not a huge fan of his roster, but I put him at 8. I think he'll manage to finagle his way to some wins in the East. Not really much else to say there. I don't know if you guys have anything for Jake's team.
For Jake, no, I agree. I think I do like the Antonio Gibson pick. Taylor was the chalk pick where Jake took him. The Mahomes pick. Well, Jake's logic, he didn't want to allow Matt, who has Kelsey, or Charlie, who had Tyreek, to get the stack, so he's really worried about that, I guess. I I still don't know. Maybe I probably would have taken my chances.
I mean, I would have too.
You know,
I said that to him.
Denner.
Sitting next to him at the draft, I said, just draft your team. Who cares if they go? There's nothing you can do about it.
I think, his wide receiver, too, is a problem. He's really gambling on Michael Thomas coming back and being Michael Thomas. And if Michael Thomas isn't, the 2019 Michael Thomas, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
You're in trouble.
I do like Damian Harris this year.
I do too.
Interesting pick there. I thought that was a good value.
No concern Ramondre stealing some goal line?
Yeah, of course. He'll get some carries, but I like with the rookie coming in, I think they're really going pound the rock, and they kind of showed that. I think New England officially has their number one back. It's been a pain in the neck trying to man that four-headed monster over the years.
I don't think they do.
I think it's business as usual for Belichick.
And I think James White's used way more this year than he was last year because Cam's not there.
We'll see. Number 7, another playoff team here from me is Brock. I think he just has a very consistent or a very balanced team across the board. Gaskin news coming out. Looks like Gaskin may actually be a 3-down back. We'll see if there's fire.
I think that's a player I'm gonna have to eat my words on.
Yep.
I was telling Mike the entire time because he and I were sitting next to each other and how much I hated Gaskin and all that stuff.
We'll see how it spins out. But if he ends up being that 3-down back, that could be a steal of the draft.
Yeah, it could be. Very well could be.
Tom coming in here at 5, so I love his roster. Couldn't drop him out of the. Sorry, I skipped someone. Foster. Foster at 6. Completely skipped over a number there.
He's very forgettable.
When you have CMC on your team, it's tough to fall out of the top, half of the league on week 1. We'll see how as he progresses along in the year, how he manages his team. Foster is kind of a wild card. We've only seen him in 1 year, and now we're going to see him for a second, see what thoughts he has, how he manages his team, where does he make the right moves, does he make the right starts and decisions, so on and so forth. So we will see. Tom coming in, spoiler alert for number 5. Great overall roster, I think. His depth is a little questionable, and I didn't put him higher because we've already seen it, $8 on Fab. I just think I don't know if I trust him as much on managing his team.
Yeah.
If things fall into place for him, he should cruise his way to a playoff run, but I don't see that happening.
If there's one person that could screw up a great start, it's Tom.
I almost think that the extra game this year is going to hurt more people than it's going to help, if that makes sense. I think some of these owners that we consistently have proven there's a track record of them not managing their team well, another week is going to give them another opportunity to make another
mess
bad move.
up.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Don't let us down, Tom.
I mean, Tom does have a solid team, but at some point, Tom's going to trade something away. He's going to make a mistake.
Trigger happy.
Yeah. He just loves to trade, which, I mean, trading's fun, but he'll mess it up somehow.
Number 4, I have Steve. I think got some good value picks there. I know you talked on a lot of people that you drafted, so it looks like you kind of grabbed the guys that you like and they fell to you and you got them a good value. Your receivers are very strong. I think A.J. Brown, Keenan Allen, and Brandon Ayuk are 3 great receivers. Ayuk has another guy who I could see year 2 breakout potential. Put myself as 3, following just behind the previous champs of East and West Division.
Well, the champ and the runner-up.
Yeah, and Charlie at 2 and Mike coming in this year, maintaining your champion status number 1. We'll see if someone can overtake you in the first week. If it's going to be anyone,
I think so.
If you lose, I think it's safe to say we definitely have a new number 1, Charlie being 2 and playing you. So it's kind of for that number 1 spot.
A lot on the line.
All right, well, that takes us through the power rankings. I'll say we're going to go into our fan favorite segment here. Gave the game of the week, kind of already gave a little spoiler to that, but similar to the NFL, we do like to put, or prior state NFL anyway, try to get the championship rematch if possible, lined up week 1. They actually never did that, did they? I don't know why I said like the NFL. Sure, we'll say they did.
That's how they should do it.
They should do it.
The Super Bowl winner always gets
that
game, but
Super
it's just
Bowl,
against somebody different.
So what we do here in the CBFFL is the person that you matched up with in the other division. So Mike finished in first in the West and won the championship. Charlie was in the championship, rematched the first week. so on, so forth. Number 2 plays number 2, 3 plays number 3. So all interdivision games this week. We'll kick off with the game of the week, rematch of the championship, Mike versus Charlie. As of right now, Charlie is a 53% probability to win on the ESPN app. Charlie coming in with a 102.5 projection. Mike does not have a kicker in. So we're looking at an extra about 7 points there. You're looking at about
pretty much even.
101, 102. Yeah, we're basically down the middle even. Who do you have winning?
Well, yeah, the projection's obviously fake news. I haven't fielded a full lineup.
Yeah.
All right. This isn't confidence inspiring or anything like that. If Austin Eckler does not play, I'm in some serious trouble. Let's be honest. I've got a bunch of bad matchups across the board.
Yeah, you do.
Charlie does not. I think, as I've gone on record saying, I think he is potentially the most explosive team. But fuck you, Chuck. I'm still gonna beat your ass. The quest for 14-0 begins Thursday.
Okay.
All right. Okay. I mean, I agree with Mike. It depends on Austin Eckler. If Austin Eckler plays, I think Mike wins. But I'm going to take Charlie week 1.
You're a traitor, obviously. No, I get it. I mean, Charlie's got some pretty good matchups. You can never, like, Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill, you can never count those guys out.
They're playing like 4 top 5 defenses.
Yeah. The Cowboys have the Bucks.
You got Buffalo, you got Washington, Chicago.
While we're on this, I'm also going to take Charlie. I think, like I said,
this turned into a hate segment.
That wide receiver core is it's something to deal with. Until they prove to me that they're not going to hold up their end of the bargain, I'm not going to bet against them.
Yeah, and honestly, the Godwin news could help him even more.
Yeah, if Godwin doesn't
God's
play.
last competition for targets for Mike Evans.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing that hurts Charlie is Javonte Williams, I think.
Yeah.
That's the only thing, because he's just a question mark.
We'll see, yeah. They could have come out and give him...
I think the worst case scenario for Javonte is 50-50 to start.
You think week 1, 50-50?
They have been raving about him.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see.
So, yeah, I would not be shocked. I think, and Swift is kind of getting some positive news. I think that's the big headache Charlie's going to have to deal with. Does he start Jamal Williams, who he wisely picked up, or does he start DeAndre Swift?
Yeah. I think you go with Swift if I'm Charlie.
Yeah, you got to trust the talent.
You got to trust.
You play the...
If Swift is suited up and available, you have to.
Yeah, your third pick, you can't keep him on.
So don't do that, Charlie.
All right, we'll move into the game 2. The game 2 is going to be number 2, myself in the West last year, versus my co-host to the right here, Steve. Who do you have? We're going to start with you first. I'm going to imagine we're both going to take ourselves.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're both going to take ourselves.
All right.
But I really do like your team. I think our matchup is going to be close.
Yeah.
I mean,
a part of me is hoping for AJ Brown to play, so I can see what Julio's split looks like.
Yeah.
It's week 1. Not going to overreact on what happens, but
I mean, and you also got to remember I have Ryan Tannehill.
You do.
So any touchdowns that Julio catches, I also get points for that.
That's true.
Which I think could help me, obviously. But I actually like a lot of my matchups. I have decent matchups, except maybe Keenan Allen against Washington. And so do you, though. You also have good matchups, except Zeke against the Bucks. It's the only one that...
Yeah. I think Hawkinson is interesting.
Yeah. And Allen Robinson against the Rams. Jesus.
Some tough matchups this week, actually. I think Hawkinson... You can ask the champ. I'm raving about Hawkinson this year. I think he's almost matchup proof. I just think
big cock.
Detroit is going to have to throw the ball a lot, and there's no one else to throw the ball to. So I think I could see Hawkinson getting double-digit targets every week.
I love the Hawkinson pick from you.
I think he's going to be a very strong player. So, all right, champ, tiebreaker for us.
Who did the Bengals have? The Vikings?
Yes.
I am not a huge fan of Joe Mixon. I think the Bengals' offense this year is going to be dysfunctional for the most part. I think Joe Burrow's still going to be struggling, at least initially, with that coming off that ACL injury. I don't think he's all there. The reports haven't been that good, and I think I just don't think Zach Taylor's that good of a coach. And then it'll come down. I think AJ Brown's out. Again, I feel like you're in a situation like that, but Dalvin Cook's going to put a monster game up, and Zeke's facing
one of
on
the
paper,
best.
a top 5 run defense. So give me Steve. Give me Steve in that scenario.
All right. Let's get over to the number 3 from last year on each side of on each division. Jake versus Alex. I'll kick this one off. Despite me earlier saying that I love Jake's team and ranking Alex pretty low in the power rankings, I think he climbs the ladder nearly immediately. I think I'm going to take Alex here with a bit of an upset. I think this is going to be that underdog story where a lot of people question the Diggs and the Hopkins pick, and I think they're both going to have very strong games this week. So I'm going to go with Alex.
Give me Jake. Not that I have a problem with Alex's picks because, again, if you think, especially early on in the rounds, if those are your guys, you got to take them because they're not coming back.
I am worried about Dak.
That's the last thing. Yeah,
Dak's one of the players I worry about. Looking at it now, I mean, they're pretty close in projections. I mean, Alex also doesn't have a kicker in. But, yet again, another one where Alex has some tough matchups. Got Baltimore going against Baltimore's defense, Pittsburgh's defense.
Baltimore's going against Baltimore's defense?
No. I said
Jacob's going against Baltimore's defense?
Yeah, Jacob. Well, I think I stuttered, actually. So thanks, Joe. Jacob's going
high
against
production
Baltimore.
quality here.
Yeah. Jacob's going against Baltimore. Diggs against Pittsburgh. Got some tough matchups, I think. Tampa Bay. I'm going to go Jake. I'm going to go Jake.
All right. That's 2 for... So far, we've had split decision each way, which leads me to Matt versus Brock. Who do you got?
Ooh, again, yeah, like I think if Godwin doesn't play, that's huge. I mean, I think that really, really hurts Brock. Give me Matt. We're gonna go Matt. I think we're gonna see return to form. Like the Browns are gonna come out, they're gonna run the ball a million times with Nick Chubb. Travis Kelce's a beast. And then I think Matt's got the 3 wide receiver ones on their respective teams, and they're going to see a ton of volume.
Yeah, DJ Moore, Robert Woods, Terry McLaurin. 3 great picks there. Going with Matt. I actually, looking at that Godwin and what it means to Brock's.
Not to interrupt, but I love the Jalen Hurts start against the
Atlanta.
Falcons. Yeah, I love it.
That's huge.
Yeah.
He's going to be a good fantasy option this year, Jalen Hurts.
I agree. I'm also going to go with Matt, looking at that Godwin, what Godwin means to Brock's team. I think that there's just we talked about Gaskin. Gaskin could maybe make up for some of that slack if he has a 3-headed running back attack there. But Godwin, there's just no one really to fill the void there.
And again, Dak with CD. If Dak's not back to form, ready to go, which they have. I don't know if anyone's been watching Hard Knocks. They have babied him as much as humanly possible, which I don't blame them for. I'm an Eagles fan. I hate the Cowboys from just because I have to from a civic duty standpoint. But they've been taking it very safe with him.
Yeah.
So I mean, there might be a little bit of some rust, and like leading off against the defending champions who brought back the overwhelming majority of their team is not easy.
Yeah.
I agree with you guys. I'm
Matt across the board.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Matt.
First one to get the triple
and
crown.
Fun fact: Matt has, I believe, 5-0.
He
has never lost.
He's undefeated on opening weeks, so I think
the Andy Reid of.
I definitely think Matt stays.
They kind of look alike too.
That is a good stat to put out. I completely forgot about that.
I mean, if Chris Godwin plays, Brock could definitely beat him.
He could, but you know what? The streak's in effect until it gets broken.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna stay here with Steve for Jose versus Brian.
Jose and Brian.
Yeah.
All right. Jose and Brian. I've taken every Easterner. It's just pissing me off.
Is that a Brian pick?
Yeah, I'm gonna go Brian.
All right, I'm also gonna go Brian. So.
Who are the Seahawks opening against?
The Colts.
Not
the easiest, not the worst of matchup, not the easiest matchup.
Yeah, I think Brian's going to get this too.
All right, Brian across the board. I just think the rosters as well are. I know again, I had Jose ranked higher in the power rankings, but I think for week 1 starting rosters, I'd like Brian much more in this matchup. And we get to the bottom dwellers. We have Joe's Gymnasium, ran by Tom, and Polska Mafia, soon to maybe see a rebrand, owned by Foster.
Is it legally allowed at this point? Hasn't the window closed? He now must be the Mafia?
We'll look into that. We'll talk it over with the owners. But I'll kick us off. I have Tom. I think we talked about his opening day roster quite a bit. But Tom is looking like a pretty strong contender. So Henry, Robinson, Metcalf.
I actually really do like Tom's team, but with that said, if Josh Jacobs ends up not playing,
yeah,
I'm going to take Folsom. I'm going to go Folsom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Take us home.
Give me the upset. Give me Tom.
Tom's the upset.
Oh, yeah. I got it. Oh, well, wait. Tom is actually projecting highs. Let's get a favor. We'll play it safe.
All right.
Go East. Go East, guys. Good luck.
That's going to bring us to the end of the Week 1 breakdown and predictions. Great to have you back. Great to be back in East Meets West.
I feel like this went fantastic.
Football is home. Football is back. We have about less than 24 hours now before we're kicking off in down there. Are they in Dallas? They're in Dallas, right?
They're in Tampa.
No, they're in Tampa. Down in Tampa, right? They're won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That about wraps us up. Any final closing out words from either?
Go West this week. Besides Joe.
All right, well, thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe down below to the CBFFL channel. I, once again, am Joe, the owner of the Both Sides of the Bun franchise, and we will catch you guys next week.
Matt, get well soon. Miss you, buddy.